So before we get into this video, there's two things I want to say. I got it. Las Plagas is a parasite. It's not a virus. You guys won. You did it. You got it. I have no excuses. I was wrong. Please, none of those comments. I got it. I will explode if I see one more of those comments. You win. I'm sorry. It's not a virus. It is a parasite. Okay, now that we got that out the way, the second thing I want to say is that if you did not watch the first part of my Las Plagas theory I put out, I highly recommend you watch it before finishing this video. But anyways, let's get into the theory. What's up guys? So I want to talk about Las Plagas. Once again, I've already made a video about it in the past, but that was when Resident Evil 7 was still new. We've gotten a lot of information since then, and I want to talk about the things that disprove it and also support it. So first off, there needs to be a controller of the parasite. Somebody has to be in control of the Las Plagas. Sadler was in control of the Ganados in Resident Evil 4. He had complete control over Las Plagas victims when the egg was fully hatched inside of them. Some people have speculated that the little girl is actually the controller of the Las Plagas, and with the most recent gameplay information we got, we learned that this little girl is actually not the daughter of the Bakers. Instead, the woman on the phone is the daughter of the Bakers.
My daddy give you a hard time?
So the mystery surrounding this little girl is actually very intense. We know absolutely nothing about this girl besides the fact that she's shown up about 2 times in the trailers that we watched. However, I do want to say this. What you're watching right now came from the Desolation trailer, where Jack seems to be dragging us and seems to be dragging this mystery girl. Now, this mystery girl on his shoulder doesn't exactly look like Margaret, so maybe it's the little girl that we've seen a couple of times in past trailers. Is it possible for the controller of the Las Plagas to still be in control of the victims if they're not actually conscious? Because it looks like the little girl here is not conscious at all. So what does this mean? Does this mean that you have to actually be sleeping, or you can be in any kind of state to be in control of the victims of Las Plagas? It's pretty weird. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think the little girl is controlling the Bakers? Now, another reason why people, including myself, went crazy about the Las Plagas theory is the fact that we saw an enemy that looks to be like Regenerators from Resident Evil 4. But there is a couple of problems with this. In Resident Evil 7, they do in fact look like Regenerators. I said this myself, but you also have to remember they also look like the Resident Evil 6 Bloodshot enemies and Revelations 1 Ooze enemies. So even though they look like enemies of the franchise, that doesn't mean that it's instantly the one that's referring to Resident Evil 4. Perhaps this is just a common enemy in Resident Evil, like how zombies are common enemies in Resident Evil, how dogs are common enemies in Resident Evil. Perhaps this is just a common enemy in Resident Evil. This figure is just very common. It doesn't mean that this is Regenerators. I could be wrong. It could be Regenerators from Resident Evil 4 making a return. However, I just don't see it. This enemy looks like so many other enemies in the series. Another reason why I don't think it's Las Plagas is the fact that Las Plagas doesn't make enemies immortal. The Ganados were killable in Resident Evil 4. The bosses were killable in Resident Evil 4. Capcom has come out and said that the Bakers are in fact immortal. The only virus that made somebody immortal was the progenitor virus. But it's not that either, because the Bakers don't share the same traits as Lisa Trevor. The Bakers don't have that physical appearance, they don't have the urge to take people's faces, and they're not anything like Lisa Trevor besides the fact that they're immortal. Not even the C virus could reproduce immortality, it just made the host more durable. There are some things that do bring up the Las Plagas hype. Like I said in my very first Las Plagas video, the behavior of ganados and the bakers are similar. They both have disgusting living conditions. They both use language even though they're under the Las Plagas virus. Jack uses English, the ganados, they had like axes and stuff. They used a lot of melee weapons to attack. We seen the bakers in the teaser have axes. We see Jack use a hoe to attack us in the most recent gameplay. They have similar qualities. The ganados lived in farmhouses, the bakers live in plantations, and the setting is similar. And even in one of the teasers, we actually had what seems to be a Resident Evil 4 reference. So there are things that still support the Las Plagas theory. However, there are so much more things that go against the Las Plagas theory. So these are all the things that back up Las Plagas and that go against it. I just pretty much played devil's advocate in this video. But let me know what you guys think. I've made this video just to start a conversation with Resident Evil fans. I'm going to be out of here. Thank you guys for listening. And I did not say Las Plagas is a virus in this video. Deuces.